What's up? It's your boy Ferg, y'all, and I got a little special episode for you. I'm gonna introduce this man, a fellow AT alien,
all day, baby,
who is now a New Yorker, a creative, an artist.
Oh, let's back up. I'm always gonna be AT alien, baby. I live in New York.
That's what I'm saying. You live in New York, a creative, an artist, a father, a husband, and a CEO of Pepper LLC. It's my people's Adrian Franks. What's going on, bruh?
What's good? What's good, fam? How's life back in the A?
Man, the A is crazy, man. You know what I mean? We dealing with all the same stuff you dealing with, quarantining. I'm here at the studio, man. This has been my life. I'm chilling in the crib, ain't going no damn where. You know what I mean?
Hey, at least you can go outside and barbecue. I'm, kind of stuck in a box, but it's
yeah, man.
It's cool.
I had to go away from my box and
right
a little bit, down a little bit further south where you have a yard and be able to actually like walk outside a little bit. So
nothing wrong with that.
So look, you're in New York, man, and if people are watching the news, we see a lot of stuff going on in the NYC right now. For some people, it may feel like a battlefield out there, man, like a real life, zombie apocalypse. But I wanted to kind of chat with you, and man, like, and what the climate is like right now, living in New York. How do you feel? Like, what's going on? How are you moving?
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, the moving part is that nobody's moving, right? It's funny just to see a city with 8 million plus people, which can easily scale up to 12 million people on any given day because of the surrounding states of Connecticut and New Jersey, right? Just more or less come to a complete standstill. So with that said, man, you can literally get from my part of Brooklyn, Flatbush, to the city in probably like 10, 15 minutes driving, right? With no traffic. So yeah, man, you've probably seen the pictures of Times Square, which I don't really frequent, or like Grand Central, or in like the big, bustling parts of New York. It's like nobody there. I almost feel like a I Am Legend kind of scenario, right? Like, like when I Am Legend is like nobody in the streets of New York. It's kind of like that in like a major spots. Now, with that said, I mean, it's still people out moving, right? They're going to get things from like the store. You still see some cars driving. It's just not as crowded, The trains are ironically still not. I haven't been on the trains in like a month, but people still riding trains because some people, that's the only way they can get back and forth to the essential jobs that are still open. So I think overall, yes, it is like really funny to see a city that's like known for always being open, shut down. Yet at the same time, I do feel like the media across the board, that's everybody from CNN to obviously Fox News to even to the New York Times just a little bit. Maybe not the Times as much. I feel like they're kind of over exaggerating the zombie apocalypse part of what's going on.
Yeah.
People at home, but ain't nobody like walking around like scavenging for like food, right? Or like, trying to find like a mask or beating somebody up or whatever, right? But it is getting to the point where like certain things like having food delivery and delivery slots have all taken up. Going out to get stuff from a bodega or even like a local store, becomes a production because now you got to do the social distance. Gloves, you're bringing all it home, and then you wiping all that stuff yourself. It's like it is a production, so it becomes more like that, almost like Book of Eli, right?
Yeah, I feel you, man, and like you're definitely right. And we talked about this on the last podcast. I'll post that for y'all if you want to see it on our first like coronavirus podcast. Although it was meant to be joking and a little bit more lighthearted about the situation.
Yeah.
One of the things we kind of talked about was really like the media really pumps things up.
And it does.
It's their job to get the clicks, to get the views, to sell the ad dollars. So whatever gets you there, they're gonna do to get you there. You know what I mean? So A lot of what we're gonna hear of New York is like, and most of what we hear here on the outside is just like, yo, this many people died, such and such died. They can't do shit. Like they just like it's a zombie war. Like it's really, really pumped up, man. And like, you know, that's why it's great to have you on here, kind of like to kind of talk about like what the environment is. Like, so like, what's your day to day like? Do you still go to the office?
No, I haven't been to the office in almost a month plus. I mean, ironically, before the government took any kind of action to tell us to stay at home. You know, I work at IBM as a UX creative director, and that company is a global company, so they basically say, "Hey, you guys, stay home to further notice because we see some development over in China and Italy and all over the globe." So Big Blue, IBM's name, nickname, street name. These guys can mobilize things pretty quickly because we already have like this work from home culture or work remotely culture anyway. So it was nothing for them to send out an email or a Slack message to tell 300 some thousand people to just work remotely or don't come into the office or don't do certain things to protect yourself. And 75% of the company could easily work remotely, and boom, it was like that. I've been home pretty much ever since. But I add to this though, right? Like even what's going on by working remotely, I wake up, I basically shower, I get my son Garvey ready, meet my wife, me and some coffee. And then at some point I jump on a WebEx around about 9 o'clock ish, 10, whatever. And I go through a series of WebEx throughout the day and try to do work and jump on Instagram, check on the baby, check on the nanny, and roughly wrap it up around like 5 o'clock. So 5 or 6 o'clock or so. So that's my day to day. And also I'm checking the news, right? Because I mean it's real. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and, lie to you that, this shit is real. It's people out here are really dying from this stuff, right? And I think that's the part I think the news is communicating probably a little too well. But yeah, it's the hospitals are pretty much locked and stopped in the emergency rooms. But yeah, man, it's real. It's really real out here. But then, I think they should also be reporting on some other things too, besides just the hospitals or the death rate. Maybe they should be reporting on how many people are recovering from this.
Exactly. I was telling somebody. I think I was talking to my mom about it the other day. Is that's the issue for me? Like, there's no balance in the actual conversation with the as far as the news is going and media goes or blogs go. Is that everything is this many people have died. This is how many people that's going to die in this period of time. Instead of like, these are the individuals. More of these are the individuals that are surviving this. These are what those individuals are doing,
right?
And things of that nature. So it's just I'm not looking for them to just stop talking about the deaths and the problem that exists, but I'm looking for a balance. Because it's so obvious what's going on here. Like, this is a golden goose for them. Like, oh, we about to make the money right now. You know what I mean? And so,
right.
I would like them to kind of show some balance. So, like,
I know. Well, and just to add to that too, my other routine for me is that I mostly look at the New York Times and everything Andrew Cuomo said on his Twitter or like his live feed online or whatever, because I just feel like it allows me to just not over consume misinformation, but I'm just trying to get information from one or two sources, which allows me to disseminate it a lot better. And I feel like Cuomo, out of any government official, he's the guy who really just feels. I mean, this guy almost feels presidential.
Yeah, for real, bro. Like he's running after this. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, he's
very hypeful, very.
Yeah, he's not bullshit. That's the thing. That's what he's not bullshitting on either end. He ain't bullshit. He's telling you he's not sugarcoating anything, but he's also allowing for hope and making actual real decisions. He's not scared of like, okay, I may fuck this up right now. He's not thinking about that. He's like, this is what we need to happen right now. And that's one of the best things I like about so many leaders is that, and particularly like military leaders, is like they're typically doing what's best. They're reacting like, okay, no one thing works in any political system. You know what I mean? So I need to react. and do what's best for my people at this time. And he's doing that. Everybody's looking at him like, the way he's handling this, man. When the next one rolls up, you know who's gonna be out there.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, man. So like when you're going out, you're doing the whole mask thing. Are you doing that?
Oh yeah, man. It's funny. Before the government again decided to tell everybody, I mean, it's funny because the government or the CDC, to be more specific, told people not to don't even worry about a mask early part of the year, right? When we first started hearing about COVID-19, right, or coronavirus, or I like to say COVID-19 specifically to talk about that strain of coronavirus.
Exactly.
Yeah, they basically say, don't worry about wearing a mask, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, nah, I'm not going for that. I'm seeing people in Wuhan wearing masks, everybody from the doctors to babies wearing masks. I think I'm going to go out and get me some masks. So I already had mask at the house because I'm kind of like a Boy Scout at heart, really a former Boy Scout. So I already had an N95 mask that pretty much was under my sink with my other tools. And Nicole found a whole stack of masks that I bought last year. That we put it on our face to kind of keep ourselves from passing any kind of like germs to the baby when one of us gets sick, right? So it's an antiviral mask. Yeah. So we got like 10 masks from nowhere, just sitting in the house chilling. So yeah, I basically went out and got some rubber gloves and a mask, and I also was using a bandana. Long before, I guess everybody started taking heed to what the government said. So now for me, man, I'm like, I'm looking at what's going on around the world. I'm going to mimic that. So yeah, I definitely, I do the mask, I do the gloves. I make sure I do the proper taking things off when I get back, like making sure I don't eat with the gloves on or wipe my face with the gloves on, because it's kind of like defeat. Exactly. And I make sure that I all my gear off and throw it in the washing machine.
I had a question for you. One of the things that one of my fears is like, passing this on to someone, right? I have COVID-19, and I pass it on to someone. Like, one of the biggest worries is like, my mom getting sick of this. Like, what is your thought process as a father and a husband, man, on like, do you have those same fears?
Yeah, I mean, to be real, I think the biggest fear is that me or Nicole or both of us can get this, then it's kind of like, who's going to take care of the kid? Because we're like, all our folks really are back home in Georgia.
Yeah.
We got friends here. I got a close friend here, like, Quentin, and a bunch of other people, but,
Q.
Just family. Yeah, Q in the house, right? It's always thinking like that. So I know for me, man, like, just trying to be mindful of trying to more or less stay safe as possible, because I mean, even when they're telling us that most people are probably like, obviously catching this through either some type of droplets coming from somebody's mouth, or you touching things and you touching your face or whatever. I don't know if we're getting the full like story, obviously, because the data is so new, and basically it could be airborne to a certain degree. It is airborne. Somebody's talking and you 6 feet away, you could technically be talking to somebody, and those droplets could get in your face. Exactly. So you can say that's a quasi form of being airborne. So I know we're just trying to just be mindful of like not going out only when we need to go out, and just thinking about like, okay, what is life in the city post this, right? Like, do we now need to consider moving to somewhere that's a little bit more open space where we don't have to worry about close confinement as much? Another thing we've been doing is every day is taking our temperature, as well as, going through our regimen of drinking a lot of fluids, as well as taking our vitamins, right? So trying to eat nice, eat a day. I'm trying to, or if we have it, that I don't have nothing else that my body needs to, if you got to fight this. So it's just really trying to approach this from a multi point of view, as opposed to just sterilizing everything. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely hear you. So I'll ask this the last question I got for you, bro. So like, you're a content creator, you're an artist. How has this kind of affected your process? Because I know on the side, outside of your 9 to 5, you like to do things. You have a podcast, the Admirals podcast, and all that stuff. Like, how has this affected your whole process?
Well, the funny thing about it, like the Admirals, the podcast you just mentioned, we was talking about all this stuff as it was developing like a month ago, and a lot of the things we talked about have actually come to fruition, right? So what we decided to do was pivot, because that's the word everybody's using, right? Everybody got to pivot. We just started recording everything on Zoom, which is weird because the mics, the audio quality on Zoom is not that bad actually, and it kind of works in the sense that we're recording. It allows our producer Tony Stallion to basically be able to almost do some quick editing on the fly, and we can get the content out actually a lot quicker. So it's doing two things at once. But in terms of me and with my other creative endeavors, staying at home now makes me have to focus more on getting the Pepper platform off the ground, which I feel like I got a bunch of leeways on that. But what's being taken away is this idea of being able to explore. And that's what New York City is good for being able to just walk out your house and run into random things, almost like serendipity, right? And that becomes like a way to inspire or get motivated, or you check out things in a museum, or you go to some type of art gathering or social spot. You just always constantly seeing things that may spark an idea or inspire you. Well, that's now is all online. And I feel for me, and I like doing digital things. I'm a digital dude, but I still like the tactileness of going and experience things in person, or feeling something like a book or a magazine, or going to a museum, or going to a performance or whatever. So I feel like that's the part that's missing. And I just hope when we get on the other side of this, that that experience can still remain here in New York. Because let's be honest, New York is already expensive. It was already expensive pre COVID-19. A lot of the makers may have to leave because right now they can't go out and make money. If you're a photographer doing a photo shoot right now, you're not making money. If you're a person out doing things for like TV sets and TV shows, you can't make money because you can't travel. So if you're a person who's a performer or a painter, it's hard to like actually maneuver right now because you're just stuck either in your small dwelling or your studio, and you can't get anybody to come to it, or you can't ship things proper. So it is going to be of a interesting thing to see how things happen going forward.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. I love the creative way that content is coming out right now. Like, it's interesting to see like ESPN and CNN, these guys like, video conferencing from home, and stuff like that. But like, what you realize is like, hold up, like the process has become a lot faster. Like, as far as like, hey, I want to do video content. Hey, I want to do a podcast. Like, you realize like, damn, like, we could be doing this. Like, I realized like with this, I was able to solve a problem that, Trapkast, we do a podcast episode every other week.
Right.
And to kind of like make it easy for everyone as we get started, with a new podcast. But I thought about it, I was like, we can implement this whole remote thing if we want to do it every week, where the guys could be at their crib and we do this. So,
but I do feel like you do have something missing when you're like not recording together. Like,
absolutely.
Watching your part, the WeLuvTrap podcast, like, when I watch the video version of it on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, what I like is like the interaction and the dynamics of you guys there together, right? That feels a little bit more, I wouldn't say just authentic. It just feels easy to do. Whereas, if you're doing it remotely via Skype or Zoom or whatever, but it's just something missing, right? And I feel like it's that in person. So it's like a bunch of other podcasts I listen to.
Yeah,
they're kind of put it on hold until they can do it in person, because like the Joe Budden podcast, they're not going to record until they can do it in person. And I think their podcast works well with them in the same room.
Yeah, and so I think what happens here is that the content that I do for us, it's like, hey, we weren't gonna do anything for, we're doing it bi-weekly. We weren't doing anything anyway. So hey, to do that, but we'll always still have us together. But I think what you also have to do is that it has to be different. When you do the remote thing, it needs to more so try to involve the audience themselves. So the content that you're doing that has to kind of do that. And I've seen some people like they do these like games, blah blah blah, make the audience feel like they're a part of the whole thing. So somehow you have to what you do is you should feel like more so that we are all talking together instead of it was like myself, G, are all interacting and someone's watching us. When we go remotely, what we need to feel like is like we are talking together, you, the audience, and us, we're all in a conversation. So I'm trying to figure out how to make that happen, get that feeling. And I think that
like a call in.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the plan, man. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. I wanted to, get a little, perspective of someone I know who lives in New York. I had a family member die of coronavirus that lives in New York.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Yeah. That's devastating.
Yeah, I didn't know her very well. My mom and my aunts did. But yeah, it was it's so people are getting affected. The thing is real. If you're not,
it's real.
Yeah, it's real.
For all you black folks out here who don't think it's real, okay,
it's real.
Go out there.
I definitely had a family member that died of it. I'm not famous, so no one's paying me to say this.
Right.
So yeah, brother, man, I appreciate you, man. Stay safe. Pepper all day. We ATLians are proud of you, man. All the stuff you're doing. IBM, the stuff you've been doing, with Spike Lee and all that stuff. We're really proud of you, bro.
Thanks, fam. Good talking to you. Stay safe out there.
Thank you. You have a good day.
Peace.